And as we speak, there are those who are preparing to divide us. The spin masters, the negative ad peddlers, who embrace the politics of anything goes. Well, I'm saying to them tonight, there is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. E pluribus unum, out of many, one.
And finally, new rule, Ted Nugent has to tell me what Obama has done that he's so mad about, so I have something to be happy about. Now, I refer to the famous proclamation Mr. Nugent made last month when he said that if Obama is reelected, it would be such an unthinkable catastrophe that he, Ted, would either be dead or in jail, or as I call it, a win-win. Now, Ted went on to say that Obama leads a, quote, vile, evil, America-hating administration wiping its ass with the Constitution, as opposed to Ted, who uses his hand. Now, it somehow became an article of faith on the right that Obama is the most extreme president in American history. Although when they say that, I think what they really mean is he's black. Yeah. But let me give you some examples. Newt Gingrich called Obama the most radical leftist president in history. Senator Marco Rubio called him the most decisive figure in American history. Michelle Bachmann said Obama is the most radical president we have ever seen in the history of the country. And when has Michelle Bachmann ever been known to misjudge a man? John Bolton said, Obama just doesn't care about national security. Honestly, there are Mexican drug mules who don't pull this much stuff out of their ass. And my question is, how can the same guy, Barack Obama, make these people feel that America has changed so completely, and yet make me feel like it's barely changed at all? I travel all over this country doing stand-up, and since Obama has been president, what? It's still the exact same Kentucky Fried Country it has always been. I see it. People driving their cars to the mall, buying stupid shit, stuffing their faces, taking pictures. The only difference is we bump into each other more because we're all texting. We haven't lost our freedoms. I'm pretty sure the only things Obama has killed are bin Laden and Donald Trump's last shred of dignity. If Obama were as radical as they claim, here's what he would have already done. Pulled the troops out of Afghanistan, given us Medicare for all, ended the drug war, cut the defense budget in half, and turned Dick Cheney over to The Hague. Here's what Obama actually did. He cut taxes and spending. Look at this graph. These bars show the growth in federal spending for each president. Obama is at the bottom. Yes, the black man's is the shortest.
Oh, my God.
He didn't go on a spending spree. He didn't break up the too-big-to-fail banks. They've only gotten bigger and failier. That's not what liberals wanted, that's what conservatives wanted. At the 28 convention, Sarah Palin chanted, "Drill, baby, drill." Under Obama, there's more drilling than ever. That's not what environmentalists wanted, that's what conservatives wanted. Obama spent most of last year conceding the Republican premise that government needed cutting. That's not what progressives wanted, that's what the Tea Party wanted. The Dow was at 79.49 when he took office, now it's 12,000 and over. Corporate profits are at their highest ever. If he's a socialist, he's a lousy one. He could not be less threatening if he was walking home with iced tea and Skittles. Oh, my God. So the question remains, how can you guys be so unhappy with Obama when I'm so unhappy with Obama? You think you got coal in your stocking? I wanted single-payer health care, a carbon emissions bill, gun control, and legalized pot. If you get to carry around all this outrage over me getting that shit, shouldn't I have gotten it? So just admit it. This isn't about what Obama is. It's about what you need him to be, because hating him is what gets you up in the morning.
President Obama is the least transparent president in the history of this country. There's never been anything like it. We know very little about our president. I'm very honored to have gotten him to release his long-form birth certificate, or whatever it may be. Now, many, many people have questions, and very serious questions. I have a deal for the president, a deal that I don't believe he can refuse, and I hope he doesn't. If Barack Obama opens up and gives his college records and applications, and if he gives his passport applications and records, I will give to a charity of his choice, Inner City Children in Chicago, American Cancer Society, AIDS research, anything he wants, a check immediately for $5 million.
As many of you have been briefed, we provided additional information today about the site of my birth. Now, this issue has been going on for two and a half years now. I think it started during the campaign. And I have to say that over the last 2.5 years, I have watched with bemusement. I've been puzzled at the degree to which this thing just kept on going. We've had every official in Hawaii, Democrat and Republican, every news outlet that has investigated this, confirm that, yes, in fact, I was born in Hawaii August 4th, 1961 in Kapi'olani Hospital. We've posted the certification that is given by the state of Hawaii on the internet for everybody to see. People have provided affidavits that they, in fact, have seen this birth certificate, and yet this thing just keeps on going. Now, normally, I would not comment on something like this because obviously there's a lot of stuff swirling in the press at any given day, and I've got other things to do. But 2 weeks ago, when the Republican House had put forward a budget that will have huge consequences potentially to the country, and when I gave a speech about my budget and how I felt that we needed to invest in education and infrastructure and making sure that we had a strong safety net for our seniors, even as we were closing the deficit, during that entire week, the dominant news story wasn't about these huge monumental choices that we're going to have to make as a nation. It was about my birth certificate.
I want to ask you about something you mentioned on the campaign trail, which is the arrest of your son, Track. And you talked about it, and then you mentioned PTSD. And you said that President Obama may be to blame for some of the PTSD that's out there.
That.
Well, let's take it piece by piece. What exactly did you mean?
Let's start piece by piece by, you guys brought me here to talk about Iowa politics and the caucus tonight, not to talk about my kids. And that was a promise. But as things go in the world of media, you guys don't always keep your promises, evidently. I never blamed President Obama. What I have blamed President Obama in doing, though, is this level of disrespect for the United States military that is made manifest in gutting budgets, in not trying to beef it up and let our military do the job that they are trained to do, and in specific issues that we're talking about that are so hot today, specifically, let's get in there and let's utterly destroy ISIS, as we know our United States military can do, yet we have a commander-in-chief who seems to kind of want to kowtow and allow the enemy to be poking at us, and that's unacceptable to most Americans, certainly to me.
Do you regret the comment, though, Governor Palin, on that day of the endorsement?
What did I say that is offensive?
That you seem to lay it at the feet of the president.
I don't regret any comment that I made because I didn't lay PTSD at the foot of the president. I did say, though, that there is, and suggested very adamantly, that there is much more that our commander-in-chief can do to prove that he respects our troops and will let them do their job. But no, if you guys have a specific quote, it allows the media to be more credible.
I got to ask you a question. I do not I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you. I want to be president of the United States, and obviously I do not want Senator Obama to be. But I have to tell you, he is a decent person and a person that you do not have to be scared as president of the United States. Now, I just.
There is not a black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America. The pundits like to slice and dice our country into red states and blue states, but I've got news for them too. We worship an awesome God in the blue states, and we don't like federal agents poking around in our libraries in the red states. We coach Little League in the blue states, and yes, we've got some gay friends in the red states. We are one people, all of us pledging allegiance to the Stars and Stripes, all of us defending the United States of America.
Tried to explain. She didn't hear me though.
My point is, they like authenticity, and I think they found it in Bernie Sanders.
It's so interesting because we've gotten so used to Donald Trump and a candidate who just pulls insane shit out of his ass. Here's what Donald Trump said about the 4.9% unemployment rate, which is the fact in America. He said, don't believe those phony numbers when you hear 4.9 unemployment. The number's probably 28, 29. As high as 35. In fact, I even heard, I love that a serious person could just go, I heard. A passing mental patient whispered in my ear. In fact, I heard recently 42%. Do you have any idea what America would look like with 40% unemployment? In the Great Depression, it was 25 people who were jumping out of windows and selling apples on the street. 40%. And I have to say, I know you hate to hear this, Republicans, but this is just in their gut. They want to feel, this is what Obama did to America. I know they don't think they're racist, but there is no other explanation for delusion on this level.
You think, wait.
Yeah. It just isn't.
Come on, Bill. You know, you're going to accuse, first of all, let me just.
Do you wish you had started with the economy and not with health care, if you had to do it over?
Well, Oprah, I've got to tell you, we did start with the economy. Remember, the first thing we did was pass a Recovery Act that
kept us from being in the breadlines.
Kept us from going into a Great Depression. Mm-hmm. It cut taxes for 95% of Americans. It provided states with the assistance they needed to prevent layoffs of teachers and firefighters and police officers. And then we also put people to work rebuilding our roads and our bridges all across the country. So that was our first priority, along with making sure that the financial system didn't melt down. It was only after we had stabilized the economy, where it wasn't in a free fall, that we started working on health care. But healthcare is the economy in the sense that if we don't get a handle on our healthcare costs, that's what's driving the deficit. That's what's driving the deficit.
But you know that's the perception. When you talk to people, they say, well, if he'd have worked on jobs first instead of healthcare.
Right.
So that's why I asked that question.
Well, you're right that, look, we lost 4 million jobs before I was sworn in. We lost 4 million jobs in the first 3 or 4 months after I was sworn in, before our economic plan had a chance to take effect. And so what people experience is, I lost my job, my house is underwater, the mortgage is my debt is more than the house is worth. And if that's what you're experiencing, it's hard for the president to come in and say, well, things would have been a lot worse if we hadn't taken these steps.
Yeah. It's hard if you avoided the bread line.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I won't be satisfied until every person out there who lost their job during this recession is able to find one again. But it's painful, and it's going to take time.
Look, part of the reason I need your help to make this law work is because there are so many people out there working to make it fail. One of the biggest newspapers in the country recently published an editorial I thought was pretty good. They said, the Republicans in Congress are poisoning Obamacare, then trying to claim it's sick. That's exactly what's been happening. I mean, they have tried to put up every conceivable roadblock. They cut funding for efforts to educate people about what's in the law. Some of them said, if their constituents call them, we won't even try to explain to them what's in the law. They actually opened up an investigation into people who try to help churches and charities understand how to help people sign up for the law. Some of the Tea Party's biggest donors, some of the wealthiest men in America, are funding a cynical ad campaign trying to convince young people not to buy health care at all. I mean, think about it. These are billionaires several times over. You know they've got good health care. But they are actually spending money on television trying to convince young people that if you've got the choice between getting affordable health care or going without health care, you should choose not having any health care. Now, do you think if you get sick or you get hurt and you get stuck with a massive bill, these same folks, they're going to help you out? Are they going to pay for your health care? It is interesting, though, how over the last couple years, the Republican Party has just spun itself up around this issue. And the fact is, the Republicans' biggest fear at this point is not that Affordable Care Act will fail. What they're worried about is it's going to succeed. I mean, think about it. If it was as bad as they said it was going to be, then they could just go ahead and let it happen, and then everybody would hate it so much, and then everybody would vote to repeal it, and that would be the end of it. So what is it that they're so scared about? They have made such a big political issue out of this, trying to scare everybody with lies about death panels and killing Granny. Right? I mean, that's Armageddon. So if it actually works, they'll look pretty bad. If it actually works, that will mean that everything they were saying really wasn't true when they were just playing politics. Just the other day, one Republican in Congress said, we need to shut this thing down before the marketplace is open
and people get to see that they'll be getting coverage and getting these subsidies because, and I'm going to quote him here, he said, it's going to prove almost impossible to undo Obamacare. Right? So, in other words, we've got to shut this thing down before people find out that they like it. That's a strange argument.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's a strange argument?
Yeah. What have you done now?
This cost increasing, job killing, tax hiking bill is inflicting irreversible damage on American employers and families.
It's a prescription for larger deficits, higher taxes, more job losses.
Will destroy health care in this nation.
This is a budget-busting bill. An estimated 5.5 million jobs could be lost as a result of the
job-killing, socialistic, and out-of-touch health care.
That Obamacare is stifling our recovery.
Kills jobs.
The job-killing.
Job-killing plan.
Job-killing.
Job-killing. This job-killing. Job-killing. Job-killing bill. Job killer.
The job killer.
The U.S. added 252,000 jobs in December.
We just saw the strongest year for hiring in 15 years.
2.9 million jobs were added in 2014.
In the third quarter, this economy grew at its fastest rate in more than 10 years.
Today, the Dow breached 18,000 for the first time.
18,000.
This is just really, really good news.
The economy is not only doing well here and there, it's doing really, really, really well.
Well, predictions were correct, and it's been one of the slowest recoveries in history.
Well, what do you mean it hasn't happened? Have you talked to any businesses out there?
So it's done a lot of damage, and we could be a lot stronger economically.
It is a job killer.
Well, I mean, I just had the best.
Didn't mean the rest of the economy. No, it's not a very good year.
I'm reminded every day that Obamacare is a catastrophe. It's a job killer. Our economy should be growing much faster.
Full effect.
Haven't we had one of the best economies in about 5 years, though?
You look at the trend lines. We're going to $1 trillion deficits in 10 years.
It clearly has cost a lot of jobs. And remember, it hadn't even been fully implemented yet.
Wondering if that will happen, or if you think that will, or where that goes.
So that's what's going to happen with the Affordable Care Act. And once it's working really well, I guarantee you they will not call it Obamacare. And the closer we get, the more desperate they get. I mean, over the last few weeks, the rhetoric has just been cranked up to a place I've never seen before. One congressman said that Obamacare is the most dangerous piece of legislation ever passed. Ever in the history of America, this is the most dangerous piece of legislation. Creating a marketplace so people can buy group insurance plan, the most dangerous ever. You had a state representative somewhere say that it's as destructive to personal and individual liberty as the Fugitive Slave Act. Think about that. Affordable health care is worse than a law that lets slave owners get their runaway slaves back. I mean, these are quotes. I'm not making this stuff up. And here's one more that I've heard. I like this one. We have to, and I'm quoting here, we have to repeal this failure before it literally kills women, kills children, kills senior citizens. Now, I have to say that one was from 6 months ago. I just want to point out we still have women, we still have children, we still have senior citizens. Yeah, all this would be funny if it wasn't so crazy. And a lot of it is just hot air. A lot of it's just politics. I understand that. But now the Tea Party Republicans have taken it to a whole new level because they're threatening either to shut down the government or shut down the entire economy by refusing to let America pay its bills for the first time in history, unless I agree to gut a law that will help millions of people. Think about this. Shutting down the government just because you don't like a law that was passed and found constitutional, and because you don't like the idea of giving people new access to affordable health care, what kind of idea is that? I mean, look, think about how that would impact Maryland. This is an area where lots of people would be badly hurt by a government shutdown. A lot of people around here, wake up and go to serve their country every single day in the federal government. Civilians who work at military bases, analysts, scientists, janitors, people who process new veterans and survivors' benefit claims. They'd all have to stay home and not get paid. And we all know it would badly damage the economy. I mean, whatever effect Obamacare might have on the economy is far less than even a few days of government shutdown. I mean, even if you believed that Obamacare somehow was going to hurt the economy, it won't hurt the economy as bad as a government shutdown. And by the way, the evidence is that it's not going to hurt the economy. Obamacare is going to help the economy. And it's going to help families and help businesses. So that's what's going to happen with the Affordable Care Act. And once it's working really well, I guarantee you they will not call it Obamacare. And you may think I'm exaggerating, but just the other day, one Tea Party Republican called the idea of a shutdown wonderful. Another said that a shutdown is exactly what we wanted. Well, they got exactly what they wanted. Now they're trying to figure out how to get out of it. Just yesterday, one House Republican said, I'm quoting here, all right, because I want to make sure people understand I didn't make this up. One House Republican said, we're not going to be disrespected. We have to get something out of this, and I don't know what that even is. That was a quote. We're not going to be disrespected. We got to get something out of this, and I don't know what that even is. Think about that. You have already gotten the opportunity to serve the American people. Yeah. There's no higher honor than that. You don't, if you're working here and in the middle of the day you just stopped and said, you know what, I want to get something, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to get, but I'm just going to stop working until I get something. And I'm going to shut down the whole plant until I get something. You get fired. Right?
Alongside our famous individualism, there's another ingredient in the American saga. A belief that we're all connected as one people. If there's a child on the south side of Chicago who can't read, that matters to me even if it's not my child. If there's a senior citizen somewhere who can't pay for their prescription drugs and having to choose between medicine and the rent, that makes my life poorer even if it's not my grandparent.
My parents shared not only an improbable love, they shared an abiding faith in the possibilities of this nation. I stand here knowing that my story is part of the larger American story, that I owe a debt to all of those who came before me, and that in no other country on earth is my story even possible. Tonight is a particular honor for me because, let's face it, my presence on this stage is pretty unlikely. My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya. In the end, that's what this election is about. Do we participate in a politics of cynicism, or do we participate in a politics of hope? It's the hope of slaves sitting around a fire singing freedom songs. The hope of immigrants setting out for distant shores. The hope of a young naval lieutenant bravely patrolling the Mekong Delta. The hope of a mill worker's son who dares to defy the odds. The hope of a skinny kid with a funny name who believes that America has a place for him too. Hope in the face of difficulty. Hope in the face of uncertainty. The audacity of hope. I believe this country will reclaim its promise, and out of this long political darkness, a brighter day will come. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you.